Are we live? Hello world, it's Gojo with you once again. Going live. Hope you're all doing well. Just gonna let everybody flock in. I know uh, that this might have been like start of the blue, so I don't know if the announcement reached a lot of people, but I'm going live, so I'm just gonna let a few people trail on in. I'm still trying to figure this out how to get the live stream scheduled ahead of time. But anyway, gonna let everybody kind of flock in. Hope everyone's doing well on this Sunday before we get started. Another little Sunday live stream. So yeah. But hopefully everyone's doing well. It's a bit of news to talk about really. So today will be a news live stream compared to prior live streams. Kind of back to the more of a traditional news stream because there's a lot of news to talk about. Because I haven't talked about news in a while, just because there wasn't. I felt like there's a lot of little news happening, but there wasn't anything super major that I felt like would warrant an individual video or live stream until today. And I felt like, all right, it's time to put everything together. There's quite a few things to talk about. Just some things I want to go over. We've got some toy news. We've got some general Monsterverse news, and then we'll go into like the main, as you can tell by the title, the main story really about this new Monsterverse video game, and then maybe some things at the end. So yeah, this is just going to be kind of a chill stream where I just kind of go over the news and, give my thoughts, and then also I'll always love to read the chat and see what you all think. It's kind of a weird time, I think, because it's like there's a lot of things happening. It may not seem like it, but there is a lot of things happening. But the problem is everything is in development. So we don't really have any trailers or any real images yet or anything, but there's quite a few projects going on. The thing is they're just so early in development, or they're in production, or they're going into production that, and Legendary is being very tight-lipped. So it's like we're just getting bits and pieces of what's happening. So it's exciting, but we're gonna have to wait and see. So a lot of stuff here is small news here and there, but it is exciting. And as the months go by, we're going to get more, especially I think into later this year and very, very much next year. We're going to get a lot more actual news and actual like trailers, snippets, images, descriptions. So it's going to get really interesting later this year. I definitely think Comic-Con will have some things for us. I don't know yet exactly what no one really knows until Comic-Con happens, but I would definitely assume that Legendary is going to show us something at Comic-Con this year. I am very much imagining it's going to be something to do with Skull Island anime. I definitely think we'll either get another image or even our first trailer. And then as for the show and for the next film, we might get maybe like finally an official announcements or some plot descriptions, but I don't think we're gonna get any much more than that, And as you'll find out in the segment, I have some information about the production of the show and the movie. So, it is happening. They are working on the film, but it's gonna take them time. So my point is, don't expect this year to be really any trailers for the show or the movie. Definitely that will be coming, I would say, maybe even next year. But this year, I don't think so. So yeah. Oh, Combat Player says, hi, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Love to have everybody in the stream. Everyone's doing okay wherever you are in the world. So, hopefully your weekend is going well. Yeah. Has everyone seen Jurassic World Dominion? Side note. Has that come out yet? Wherever you are. I know that has nothing to do with it, but yes, I have seen Jurassic World Dominion, and I hopefully soon we'll have my review of it on this channel. I'm also watching the Ultraman anime as well, so definitely expect reviews of those eventually on this channel. but there's other things working on. I think you guys are gonna enjoy. There's another project coming up in July. I think you guys are gonna like. So anyway, I think we can get started onto the main, I guess, news segments. So the first thing to talk about, we'll start with toy news, right? Toy news is kind of where we'll start, and I think it's just a fun little story here. So there's been these new Monsterverse Playmates figures coming out. You know that Playmates is continuing to put out Godzilla vs Kong figures that are just either based off the movies or off the classic Toho uh, films. But now they've got these new Titan Tech figures that transform, and these are very silly, very over the top, not realistic, not accurate to the movies, but just more for fun, more for like a younger audience. And they're pretty neat though. I mean, if you're a fan of like those 90s toys that had a lot of gimmicks and stuff, which are kind of still around to some extent, you'd love these kind of figures, right? I mean, you have like there's Godzilla who can transform and transform into like a super form, and it's called the Titan Tech, I guess is what they call it. And then there's Kong as well, who transforms, and courtesy of this individual, I guess, named Ned Chang, apparently. Who, by the way, this Ned Chang individual always has pictures of the figures before they come out. I don't know how they're getting their hands on the Playmates toys, but they posted these to Instagram and I think Twitter. Luminous, if you don't know them, they're a great YouTube channel. You should subscribe to them. They posted about this, and then I think everybody else also, took the story from them. But they actually got it from Ned Chang. So anyway, they look. I keep saying Instagram. I wonder. Yeah. So here's the Titan Tech Godzilla, which is from the beginning. It looks like a normal Playmates Godzilla figure, but then you can see that he transforms into his super version. And then they have Kong, who, as you can see as well, transforms into his Mega Kong. I like the axe, I guess. It looks very Atlantean or something like that, or something out of Halo is what it looks like. So I think it's pretty neat. I think that, look, this is for fun. This is for a younger audience. This is not like anything movie accurate. But it's fun and it's silly, and I hope to do something like this for Mechagodzilla from the film. Trendmasters had a very similar thing back in the 90s. If some of you remember the Trendmasters Godzilla figures, they had like ones with like armor and power-ups for Godzilla, Mechagodzilla. I had one for Mecha King Ghidorah. That even though Mecha King Ghidorah is already like a mech, he was even more powered up. It was very silly. But they're toys for kids, right? So kids love this kind of stuff. I think it's neat, and I really hope they do Mechagodzilla, maybe even King Ghidorah. We could get kind of our own. It would be the closest to getting a Mecha King Ghidorah in the MonsterVerse at this point, at least. So that could be pretty cool. I think it's fun and it's silly, and it's just good to see Playmates putting out more stuff. However, I would still like to see other things, right? Like we want to see the Playmates King Ghidorah figure. We haven't really seen anything else on it. Maybe like to see some Mutos, Skullcrawler. I think they actually did put out Skullcrawlers before, but maybe Mutos, other classic figures. Maybe other classic Showa figures. Who knows, Manda. They did Gorosaurus and Rodan. Maybe they could do like King Caesar, Kumonga Kamacuras. Who knows? I really like a Manda figure. That's what I would kind of like. Maybe a Batra figure would be nice. Biolante. So there's a lot of things I want to see Playmates do with the classic monsters, and I'm kind of hoping we get to see that later. But this is still really cool, and it's a neat idea, right? It's very gimmicky and it's silly, but it's cool. It's a neat idea, and yeah. Yeah, I think everyone kind of agrees. It's kind of like the old Godzilla figures from Trendmasters. Um, it does look like Kong is wearing sunglasses. I agree. He does look like he's wearing some sunglasses. So, but yeah, I still think it's a lot of fun. And then the other story See what I did there? Is this whole Haya Toys. If you haven't heard about them, they're kind of creating these new figures, and supposedly they're like going to be in the same price range as the NECA figures originally were, but they still have a good amount of detail and articulation. They did release recently images of a Godzilla 2021, Godzilla vs. Kong figure, and now they've released images of their Kong figure. So it's going to be 16 points of articulation, and it looks pretty good. And apparently he's going to release in December of 2022, but he's only available to pre-order in China at the moment. That might change, but yeah, so it's a pretty nice looking figure, and he's about 6.3 inches tall. And I don't know if it says the price, but I've heard that he's going to be cheaper than like the SH Monster Arts one. But they don't say anything because so far the prices are only like, I think he's only available in China. So a really nice looking figure. Does he come with, he has 2 heads and 3 pairs of hands. Well, so quite a few parts. I don't even know how many the NECA Kong that they made gives you. I think it comes with a couple heads and a couple parts. So the detail is pretty good though. So that's why I'm wondering, like, how much are these going to cost? Because from what I've heard, these will be cheaper than SH Monster Arts, but I don't know how much cheaper. Like if he's like 30 to 40, that wouldn't be too bad. But it looks pretty good. I personally, not sure how I feel about it because I have a Kong from Playmates, so I don't know if I really want to pick this one up. But it does look pretty nice, and if he ends up being cheaper than the SH Monster Arts, I think, you know, if you want a Kong figure and you don't want to get the SH Monster Arts, get this one instead. Because if you haven't gotten the NECA one, because the NECA one is pretty good, I don't even know if that one's available anymore. There's so many, like, there's a repaint version, then there's like another repaint, or there's like a black and white version, and then there's like a Skull Island version. I don't know if the original one is still available at this point. So if you haven't gotten the NECA Kong yet, this might be your best shot at getting one that isn't the SH Monster Arts. The detail is pretty good, I think. So, I mean, I think it looks really good. That's what makes me wonder, like, how is this going to be that much cheaper than the SH Monster Arts? It's about 6.3 inches tall, 16 points of articulation. You can, 2 swappable heads, apparently 3 switchable hands. Comes with a battle axe. It's going to come out December of 2022. December of 2022. And I don't know exactly when the Godzilla figure is coming out. We also know that they're going to do a King Ghidorah, which is the one I'm most excited for, because as we all know, NECA never made a King Ghidorah figure. There's a whole story. Everyone, but no matter how you feel on the fence about that, that was a kind of a mini toy drama in the community. However you feel about it, we never got a NECA King Ghidorah figure. All we got was the Bandai one, which I have actually over here. I have the Bandai Movie Monsters King Ghidorah 2019, a Jakks Pacific one, which was not even that big, and then the SH Monster Arts one, which was like $160 or something like that when it came out. So we never really got a good, decent priced King Ghidorah figure. And then Bandai never made a large size one, right? And so now Playmates is coming out with a King Ghidorah figure. I think it's only 6 inches, and the Haya Toys is going to do one. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Haya Toys and Playmates come up with. I'd love to get, really, if Playmates made like a large size King Ghidorah figure with licensed sound, I think that would be the one I'd really want to get. But it would be cool also to see what Haya Toys comes up with to get an articulated King Ghidorah figure. I really like King Ghidorah 2019. I just wish there had been more figures made of it, because it's kind of a pity what kind of happened. And so we'll see, because like I feel like with Godzilla vs. Kong, we're getting tons of figures of Godzilla and Kong. We got tons, and I don't know what happened. Maybe King Ghidorah is just too big or something to make toys out of, but it felt like the King Ghidorah 2019 has been very neglected when it comes to figures, because there's so many Kong figures now. Mechagodzilla 2019. There's a bunch of Playmates toys, there's the Bandai version, there's the Bandai SH Monster Arts. Well, I think Hiya Toys is also going to do a Mechagodzilla. So, poor King Ghidorah needs a bit of love, I think, on the toy front. So hopefully, either Hiya Toys or Playmates will be able to deliver on that regard. But anyway, this is the new Hiya Toys King Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong, that's coming out later this year. I don't know when you'll be able to order it outside of China, but apparently for now it looks like he's only available in China. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's the toy news. So we're going to move on to the kind of the Monsterverse news now. And starting out with kind of one of the more interesting ones, I think, is that the Skull Island anime shared their first look. So the Skull Island anime that was actually announced right before Godzilla vs. Kong came out, um, with like February of 2021, finally released an image, which I'll show you all in a second. Uh, but the good news is this actually confirms this project is still happening, because we had heard nothing about this since it was first announced well over a year ago in February of 2021. So the cool thing is it's kind of confirming that this project didn't get canceled. And yeah, so let's see, they're going to continue with a whole new bunch of projects. That's to be in the works earlier this year. Well, I mean, last year actually. So yeah, apparently it's coming from Powerhouse Animation. There's very few details about it at this point, but it's the same studio that gave us Castlevania, Blood of Zeus, Seis Manos. So if you know this studio, and the plot description is going to be a new chapter in Legendary's Monsterverse franchise. Skull Island is a thrilling animated adventure series that follows shipwrecked characters desperate to escape the most dangerous place on Earth, a mysterious island home to prehistoric monsters, including the greatest titan of them all, Kong. So Kong will actually show up in this. The original description didn't really say if Kong was going to be in it or not, and I felt like you can't have Skull Island without Kong. And then this is the image that they released, so very much obvious that Kong is going to be in it. You couldn't have the Skull Island anime without Kong in it, I think. No official release date, but still very cool, very exciting that we're getting news on this finally. So yeah, very, very cool. I kind of dig the animation style, but it's kind of tough to tell because it's like a painted image with some drawn characters. I can't really tell much from this screenshot of what the actual animation will look like, but it's a teaser image. So I do believe that we will probably get a trailer or more news at Comic-Con, at least either a poster or even a trailer for this, because I wouldn't doubt that they've already made a lot of progress on this if this was announced already beginning of last year. And with the fact that the current situation of how it was and kind of still is with the what, which I can't say because YouTube might demonetize me if I say it, but with the situation, right, with all the lockdowns, the animators could still keep working from home. So I would believe that they've been working on this whole time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we got some more information about it at Comic-Con. But that's kind of the main thing with the Skull Island anime. Pretty cool, pretty exciting, and I can't wait to see and hear more about it. So yeah. And then the next bit of info is about the Monarch series, or the Apple TV Plus series, which I think is being called Monarch. I think that is confirmed at this point. I'm not really sure. I've been hearing, different reports on if it's confirmed or not. But the main news is that the WandaVision producer and director Matt Shakman is going to direct the first 2 episodes of the series, which here they call the Godzilla live action series. He has been tapped to direct the first 2 episodes of Apple TV Plus upcoming live action Godzilla and Titan series based on Legendary's Monsterverse franchise from Legendary Television. Again, I don't know if it's called Monarch. I've read somewhere that it was confirmed as Monarch, but here it says it's untitled. I really hope it's called Monarch because that's what I put in my fan trailer. That's fine. They change it. These things change all the time. But I don't know who that is. Yeah, it just says more. So that's kind of cool. I've liked WandaVision. Not sure if any of you have seen it or watched like the MCU TV shows, but I quite liked WandaVision, and it was a good show. So I definitely think he can bring kind of a cool, mysterious quality to the show. I think the first two episodes are probably going to be pretty important because they begin to set up everything. I don't know how long the show is going to be, but if it's like a streaming show, streaming shows are a lot shorter than like cable television shows used to be. So I would not be surprised if we're looking at 6 to 8 episodes for the first season. That's streaming shows usually, especially if they're like 40, 50-minute episodes. I definitely think it's going to be 6 to 8 episodes for the first season. So yeah, so that's kind of that bit of news, and pretty exciting, I think. So, and speaking of the show, apparently this comes to us from Gormaru Island, which I think is a pretty good source. Say what you will about them, but they have some pretty good sources, and I haven't really seen anything that suggests that you can't trust them. So I think the source comes from them. I haven't been able to find this anywhere else. But anyway, apparently the Monsterverse show Monarch, so according to Gormar Island, it's called Monarch, is going to begin filming on Monday. It's going to begin filming on Monday, June 27th, tomorrow. So according to Gormaru Island. Now, I can't find anywhere else's information, but Gormaru Island has sources, I believe, that let them know about these things. They're kind of tapped into the industry. They've been doing this since like Shin Godzilla came out, so I don't think they're not. I think they're a pretty reputable source. We've been hearing that the show was going to start production in summer anyway. It's going to start production, but start filming in November. It's a bit confusing. So because usually production and filming are the same thing, so I'm not really sure. It's a bit confusing the way they've been announcing, when they're going to start work on these shows or movies. But apparently, the show will start production tomorrow. That's according to Gomaru Island, which is pretty exciting, pretty cool. And hopefully soon we'll maybe get to see some set photos. Maybe set photos will leak as they always do. I would imagine though, for filming the whole show, this is going to be ongoing for the next few months. Maybe even to next year. And especially if there's not any delays or anything, that could still happen. So I definitely think that production will run for some time, and then they still have to do visual effects. So, it will be some time before we see the show, but still very exciting, very cool. And then speaking of continuing on with production news as well, also coming from Gomaru Island, that the upcoming Monsterverse film sequel begins their set construction apparently. So it's apparently the set is being built right now at the Village Roadshow, which I think is in Australia. And apparently its set construction is underway at the Village Roadshow Studios, which I think is in Australia, for the third installment of the Kong films, which they call Kong Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong. I wouldn't say Godzilla vs. Kong is technically a Kong movie because it's a crossover film, but I think I know what they meant, right? So if that isn't already kind of confirming that this is another Kong solo movie, it's been very much known at this point, like from the beginning, right after Godzilla vs. Kong came out, the rumors of Son of Kong. It's very much hinted that this is going to be Son of Kong or Kong 2 or whatever they're going to call this. So, and here kind of continues this trend that this is going to be a Kong solo movie. So, yeah, it is pretty interesting. Some people are commenting, you think they would have officially announced the film before they start pre-production, but like at this point, it's kind of weird because everyone's talking about this movie. We pretty much know they're making it, but Legendary hasn't actually announced anything yet. There is not yet technically an official announcement from Legendary that they're making this movie, which is really funny to me. And I think at Comic-Con, I would imagine we will get finally some kind of official confirmation that this movie is happening. But it's just funny because they're already filming, and I think they want to keep it under wraps. I think that's kind of the way they want to play this. So I wouldn't expect too much at Comic Con, but maybe just an official announcement like, yeah, we're making another Monsterverse movie. Or maybe they might say we're making Son of Kong or another Kong movie. So yeah, so anyway, but that's still really cool that the set construction is underway. And again, I'm not, I'm getting so many conflicting reports of like when these productions start. So like I believe the production was supposed to start end of this year, but now the set construction is beginning. So maybe they'll start production. Then I've heard production will start this summer. I'm not really sure. And the thing is, production means many things because the way movies work is they don't just like film everything all together at once. It could be certain effect shots, it could be the main production, it could be reshoots, it could be anything. So what production means is not, and they're keeping everything under wraps. So like, we don't really know what they're actually filming or doing. So take production with a grain of salt. Like they could be just starting filming, they could just be doing some previs, they could be doing anything. So production doesn't really mean anything concrete at this point. But work is underway on that. I'm hoping next month we get some more actual news on it. But let's get on to the main segment of today, which is like the main segment. I'd say one of the main stories that I really wanted to focus on today. So about like the beginning of this month, there was a expo that like Legendary, like an entertainment expo thing that Legendary and a bunch of other studios went to. And apparently they announced at the Licensing Expo 2022. And Legendary announced that they're going to collaborate with a video game studio called 7 Levels, and they're going to make a Monsterverse game. Now, this is a Monsterverse game, not a Godzilla game. So already, don't hold your breath. But apparently, it will be set after the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, and players will exploit the strength of the Titans to traverse a crumbling metropolis on the trails of unraveling a huge mystery tied into the Monsterverse franchise. Who knows what that really means, but like, apparently, players exploit the strength of the Titans to traverse a crumbling metropolis. So you play as a Titan trying to escape a destroyed city. Is that what that means? Or are you a human trying to escape a city? And you're unraveling a huge mystery tied into the Monsterverse franchise. They call it a huge mystery, and then it oftentimes means actually nothing. I don't know how many times I've seen something like, it's a huge mystery and it means a lot, and then it ends up not really meaning anything, and it doesn't even really tie into the movies that much. So apparently 7 Levels has released a variety of video games behind it, all of them having been released on PC and consoles. So this new game might be out for consoles and even Nintendo Switch. It'll basically be out on PC. So and I don't even know. Sorry, just checking something on. How do I? For 2 seconds. See if I can check my chat real quick. Sorry, I had to clear some weird messages in my chat. Hopefully, I don't know if the chat refreshes or not. Let me see if I do this. There we go. Sorry. I had to kind of refresh the chat because like some bots came in. I had to clear them out. So sorry, combat player, and anyone else watching, your chat got removed. Sorry about that. But anyway, so okay, so what was I saying? It might be coming out on consoles and the Nintendo Switch, which is pretty cool actually. There's a lot of things that we can say about this. And I remember also reading somewhere that it's going to be a 2.5D game, so which means it'll be more like a platforming game than an actual. It's going to be, sorry, it says up here 2.5D action adventure. 2.5D I think means like a platformer, right? Where like there's 3D elements, but there's going to be like, it's mainly a platformer. You know, you'll be moving through things, especially if you're traversing some kind of metropolis. That's good. So I do think that that fits into this whole thing about running through a metropolis or something like that and trying to escape danger. And it'll be like a little 3D side-scrolling platform game. Kind of like, I think of, what was it? Not City on the Edge of Battle, but like City in Darkness or whatever. If you remember that game that was only in Japan, where you're like a human who has to like escape a city being attacked by Godzilla or Gamera or Ultraman, and you have to like make your way through the city, and it's more like a survival game. That sounds like what this could be, or it's where you play as a Titan trying to escape a city in the middle of battle, but I think you're playing as a human. The description is a bit weird, but if it's a 2.5D game, I could see that like you're kind of a survivor trying to get out of a city. I think a little 2.5D kind of survival game where you're trying to escape like Hong Kong during the battle of Godzilla and Kong and Mechagodzilla would be a cool little game. I definitely see this not being like a full-priced console game or something like that, but maybe some, you know, $30 to $40 range kind of a game. A smaller, shorter experience of just a few hours, but if it's well made, it could be a lot of fun. And I think that in terms of how much it really will tie into the Monsterverse, I take that with a grain of salt because I don't really know how much they'll really add to it. And I'm just a little bit skeptical of how much it really ties into the Monsterverse, but I think it's still super cool. And you know, I'm always down for more Godzilla video games, monster games in general, but you know, I mean, recently, as you'll kind of see, the more modern games we've had is like a lot of crossovers with other games or mobile games. That's kind of what we've been getting, and this is kind of a step in the right direction because it's actually kind of, it's not a, you know, a full AAA experience, but it is a game being developed for apparently PC and console. I'm hoping it's not just a mobile game, and so hopefully this is kind of the direction we continue to go in when it comes to games. And I mean, there's so much you can do with Godzilla in video games, so you know, shout out to Kaiju Universe. But honestly, if you could just give me Kaiju Universe with a big budget, it'd be an amazing game. You know, obviously fix bugs as well. But I mean, look at what we got with Operation Monarch. It wasn't perfect, but could you imagine a game where like there's a section where you're playing in first person and trying to survive Godzilla or Kong? You know, the King Kong 2005 video game was great. It's one of those few movie tie-in games that was actually really, really good. If we could just get something like that, that would be amazing. So I'm hoping that this is kind of a step in the right direction for games and Godzilla, I guess. You know, I mean, there's many things you do. I wouldn't even mind just like a, you know, a Melee, like a Destroy All Monsters Melee, just remastered, you know, a Mortal Kombat style game as well, where you just, two monsters just fight to the death type of thing as well, like an arcade fighter. But I also would love to have like an open world Godzilla game. That would be kind of amazing. More like what you can do in Kaiju Universe. But also something like this is kind of cool where you're trying to survive and escape a city. That's what it sounds like this is. I'm not really sure. But there's many things that they could do. I've been, you know, we've been wanting a new Godzilla game for quite some time. The last Godzilla game, love it or hate it if you want, but it came out in like 2014, 2015. It was a PlayStation exclusive only. This sounds like it would come to all consoles and everything, which is already really good news. It's something different. It's set in the Monsterverse, which is great because that gives you access to so many creatures and titans. Um, but I'd also like to see Toho do more stuff. I'm sure Toho has all the rights, all the licenses, right? And they had their, as you can see now, their 3 mobile games that came out like last year. Even though I think it's Godzilla Destruction has been shut down. I don't know why. I don't know if the game just didn't do well or something, which is a bit of a pity. But we want to see more stuff like that, right? I want to see more games come out, and not just mobile games, right? I think a lot of players get a bit frustrated, and I get the reality. Right? Look, it's a business thing. It's all business. Like the thing is, mobile games make them money. They're cheaper to make, and they make money. So it's a better return on their investment. If they make a console game, it's very expensive. They have to market it, and it has to do really well in order to be worth it. So I understand that. I do understand that there's more risk, but that's what we really want. We don't want just another mobile game. And also maybe just give the license or the rights to an established studio. There's plenty of great game studios out there. Toho could team up with a lot of the great. Toho could team up with a lot of the great studios in Japan, or Legendary could team up with a plethora of studios all over the world that could really make an awesome AAA, Monsterverse game. And that, like, Legendary just has to give them the rights, and the studio will pay for the rest and everything. And doesn't Legendary like work with Tencent, which is like one of the biggest video game developer studios in the world, or owns like all the video games? Or I don't know if it's just, they own, like, they're one of the biggest publishers in the world. So I don't know. I get it. Like, the thing is, it's expensive to make video games, and so they're a bit, they have cold water, they have cold feet on doing it. But they have to have seen the success of Godzilla and Kong and PUBG and Call of Duty. I mean, Operation Monarch got me to start playing Call of Duty, and I had not played it in months. And the mode wasn't perfect. It had problems, but it was one of the most entertaining things I've done in Call of Duty in a long time, at least in like Warzone. And it had people talking about Call of Duty when at a time when people don't really care much about Warzone, but it brought people, at least very momentarily, back to Warzone. Now they could have done more with it. I really wished Mechagodzilla had shown up, but maybe the engine couldn't handle it. So maybe Warzone 2, maybe in the future Legendary will continue to do crossovers. Maybe with this next solo film for Kong, maybe there'll be a crossover event with that in Call of Duty again, or PUBG, something like that. World of Warships. I don't know about World of Warships, but we might get more stuff. The thing is just we want an actual game instead of just crossover events. They're cool and all, but that's how I felt when I played Operation Monarch as well. That, like, it was fun, but I wanted to just have a game where I just go after Titans, and I'm not just playing Call of Duty, because I would be trying to take down Godzilla or Kong or fight them, and then someone else would kill me, and it was kind of frustrating because it's like, I just want to fight the Titans. I actually don't want to kill people. I don't want to play Call of Duty right now. If I wanted to play Call of Duty, I'd play the other modes, Which, don't get me wrong, I do like some of the other modes in Warzone, but when I'm playing the Operation Monarch mode, I actually just want to go after the Titans and just look at them until someone shoots me. So it would be cool to get a game that was just where you go after the Titans and you hunt them down or you fight them, or something like that. Maybe an Evolve type game. If you remember Evolve, it was cool, but it kind of like faded into obscurity pretty quickly. But it'd be cool to have a game where like one person is a Titan and then everyone else is trying to kill them, or maybe where everyone's a human trying to take down a Titan or something like that, and you have to work together. I think that would be really, really cool. So I think that that's something that I would love to see in the future, but we'll have to see what happens. Like, this is early news, right? This is just what we've heard now. So this was at the expo, which is pretty cool, by the way. This poster that they came up with, that's pretty awesome, actually. No Mechagodzilla or King Ghidorah or Rodan or Mothra, but maybe they didn't have the licenses for them. But I'm still very excited. I'm always talking about we've gotten so much out of the Monsterverse, and I'm grateful. You know, we have a Godzilla anime, but I want a Godzilla game, right? That's the one thing we've been missing over these past few years. Is like a really good Godzilla game, because the last one we got was in 2014, 2015. And the reason, you know, some people say, well, why didn't we get a sequel to that? And you know, because it flopped. Well, I'll tell you, if well, it did flop. One, because I think a big hamper to it was a PlayStation exclusive, which I think was kind of a bad idea because you've got Godzilla fans everywhere. Not to put on Nintendo Switch, I think was kind of silly because a lot of Godzilla fans played the original Destroy All Monsters games and all those games on Nintendo platforms because they came out on GameCube, and then later on Godzilla, what was it called, Unleashed, came out on Wii. So you had a whole bunch of Nintendo fans who had, you know, grew up with the Godzilla games, probably got, you know, a Wii or Nintendo Switch. I think the Wii 2, whatever it's called at the time. And they didn't put it out for Wii or Nintendo platform. They didn't put out for PC. They only put out PlayStation exclusive. So I think that one was a bad idea. Two, the quality of the game. I felt like that Godzilla game from 2014 was just kind of more of a cash in by Bandai and Toho to try and cash in on the success of Godzilla 2014 and all the hype. And it shows because the game itself was not very good. Everyone gave it a hard time, and then a lot of Godzilla fans tried to defend it, but it wasn't. It didn't seem like it was a very good game, and it was only a PlayStation exclusive. So, you know, that hurts fans who aren't PlayStation console owners. So, I'm hoping that Toho learned their lessons from that, and if they attempt another Godzilla game, one, don't make it a console exclusive. Two, you know, make it like not just a cheap cash in, but actually put some time and effort into it. Of course, that means that they have to invest money and time and effort into it. But I'm also saying just give the license or the rights to a studio that actually could care about it. NetherRealm, I think, would be an amazing studio. Could you imagine if they did like a Mortal Kombat style Godzilla game with the graphics and quality that we're used to, you know, like Injustice or their latest Mortal Kombat games? They're great. Like, I'm not a huge arcade fighter fan, but in this case, I would be totally okay with it because those games look amazing and they're super fun to play. But there's many other studios that I'd love to see take on a Godzilla game. So hopefully this is the beginning of something new and really cool. If this game turns out to be good and does well, and the Monsterverse continues to grow, hopefully it won't be long before someone, you know, picks up the rights to do a full AAA Godzilla Monsterverse game, or even someone goes to Toho and tells them, let's make a, you know, a really full AAA Godzilla game. So hopefully we'll see that in the future. And yeah, so that's kind of the main segment that I wanted to focus on for today. Pretty cool, exciting news. It's not much at this point. We don't have any other information about it. We don't have any screenshots, but I'm sure over time we will get more news about it. And hopefully it's going to be coming out to multiple platforms. But yeah, the news is coming. And finally, I just wanted to, you know, put in one last segment today just to kind of showcase, show off, give a shout out, however you want to call it, to some Godzilla YouTube content that I think is pretty cool, because I think there's a lot of like YouTubers that deserve, you know, some shout outs and stuff like that. There's just some cool content. I've done it a few times, but you know, haven't done it in a while, so there's some great content out there that, you know, I don't know if people are watching or not, but I think just worth, you know, giving a shout out to. So the first one I think is Slick. You know, they have like a lot of subscribers, so I assume they're quite popular. And this has almost, you know, 700. It has more than 700,000 views. So, and this is the full cut. You know, they released like the first half. I think the finale of this animation is 2.3. So this is Godzilla vs. Destroyer, and it's the full cut. Okay, so they're doing really well. But if you haven't seen this, I just want to shout it out. It's fantastic. It's called Godzilla vs. Destroyer, full cut by Slick with uppercase K. They also put it out in 2 parts, but this is the full combined part. It's 40 minutes long. I've seen the finale. This is great stuff. This is great content. What this individual is creating is on par with like a movie at this point. So it's full of action, drama, story, Has all your favorite monsters in it. Check this one out. Give them some like and support. And also, the animation must take ages to do. There's a lot of animation. This is 40 minutes. So they must spend ages putting together all these animations and stuff. So this video deserves like 10 million views. This is like a movie. This is, if this was an actual movie in the Monsterverse, it'd be the greatest monster movie ever made, because it's crazy how much work and effort was put into this, and so they deserve a lot of credit for their hard work. And yeah, they make great content in general as well. So definitely subscribe and check out their content. But I definitely want to shout out this project they made. And then the next one is this Gamera movie trailer concept for like a Gamera Monsterverse film. And I want to give shout outs more often to other people who make fan trailers, because you may or may not like my fan trailers, but people out there who make really good fan trailers, who are very talented, I think more talented than I am. And this is a really good fan trailer. I really liked it. And also, it's a Gamera one, which I think is super cool. And I think that there's not that many Gamera fan trailers that are just Gamera. They're usually like Godzilla versus Gamera. But this was one about Gamera in the Monsterverse. You all can check it out for yourself. I'll put it in the description. I'll put the link in the description below. But it's pretty cool. And this person did some really good job with the edit. I really like it. Continue the Monsterverse. I'd love to see Gamera in the Monsterverse. I'm all for it if it happens. So I would love to see that. And anyway, but check it out. I'll put the link in the description. And I think it's great. And yeah, so those are kind of the two I wanted to give a shout out for. And I want in the future continue in these streams to give more shout outs, because I think that, I can, show and talk about stuff all day long, but there's also a lot of great content creators out there that I think, deserve to be shouted. There's even, these are some of the big, well, actually this guy who made the Gamera trailer only has like 2,000 subscribers, so not even that big a creator compared to the other one. But I want to try and shout out, small creators as much as I can, because there's a lot of great content, especially in the Godzilla YouTube community or Kaiju Monsterverse community. There's a lot of great content, and there's a lot of creators putting out some awesome work, and they're like super tiny channels that you never heard of. So if I see something good, I want to show it off, and show it to you all. And I just ask that you give them some love and support. But anyway, that's really it for this live stream today. Like I said, it was a bit different, more of a news one, a bit shorter one. But thank you all for everyone who everyone who tuned in and hung out with us during the stream. Oh, and thank you to everyone who's watching this afterwards on YouTube. If you like it, give it a like, share, with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, also like it if you want to see more live streams like this in the future. And yeah, that's kind of it for this one. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.